All right, looks like that we are all set and ready to start the meeting. This is the Village of Woodlawn regular council meeting for August the 25th, 2020. Public, we do apologize for the late start of this meeting. However, we had some technical difficulties last minute in our Zoom ID, so we do apologize. With that, I do have 7:20 as a start time to call in the meeting to order. I'm going to ask that we all recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Jerry, would you lead us in that, please?
Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United
States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all.
Thank you. Father God, right now, we just want to pause and say thank you for being God all by yourself. We just ask that you come right now and just place on our hearts those important things that need to be taken care of here in the Village of Woodlawn. But we also ask that you continue to heal our land with the COVID-19 as it is still sweeping this nation. We ask that anybody here in the Village of Woodlawn that has been affected by that we ask a special prayer for them as well. These blessings we ask in Jesus' name we pray, amen. Roll call, please.
Mayor Poole.
Present.
Rosemary Brown.
Present.
Esther Boyd.
Here.
Garrick Burkhalter.
Present.
Pamela Fitzgerald.
Present.
Robert Lawson.
present.
Kiana Trabue.
Present.
Very well, thank you. All right. Reading and disposal of previous minutes from the special council meeting on July the 7th, 2020. Are there any corrections, deletions for those minutes in front of us for approval? Having none, just need a motion to approve the minutes from the special council meeting of July the 7th, 2020. All ayes.
Motion.
I need a motion, folks.
Make a
I'll make
motion.
a motion.
I second it.
Thank you. All ayes.
Aye.
Aye.
There are none. There are no nays. So thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, shoot. All right. Regular council meeting minutes from July the 28th, 2020. Are there any corrections or deletions to those minutes in front of you?
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the July 28th council meeting.
I second it.
All right, motion's been moved properly. Second, all ayes in favor of accepting the motion?
Aye.
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 No nays. Thank you. All right. In this part of our agenda, it does call for a public hearing of the tax budget 2021.
Okay. So we've submitted the village's tax budget for 2021. We submit the tax budget in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 5705.28, which requires us to adopt a tax budget via resolution prior to July 15th. We filed an amendment to push that adoption off until today. The financial impact of the tax budget, it must be approved, otherwise it could impact the village's share of the local government funds. The tax budget requires the village to estimate revenue and expenditures for funds which derive revenues from real and personal property taxes. The Village of Woodlawn has three funds which derive money from property taxes: the general fund, the fire levy fund, and the pool levy fund. These detailed schedules of those funds have been included in the 2021 tax budget. It is estimated that the total assessed valuation for the year 2020 collected in 2021 for the Village of Woodlawn will be 114.4 million. So that's total property value. within the village. This is an increase of 0.17% in property value over the 2020 anticipated collections. The general fund collects 3.08 mils of real property taxes. It is estimated that the general fund will collect an estimated $325,087 in property taxes in 2021. We believe this will be about an increase of 1% over 2020 anticipated collections. Income tax collections in the general fund are estimated to be $5,213,650 of total estimated income tax collections of $6.2 million in 2021. This assumption is based on the belief that total tax revenues will increase 1% and that RETA will also generate some additional tax revenue in 2021. It is estimated that the general fund will have a balance of $969,902 at year-end 2021. Expenditures in the general fund are estimated to be $6,485,088 in 2021 compared to $6,492,735 in 2019. This decrease is based on some better budgeting practices by the village. Fire levy consists of a 5 mil property tax levy renewed in 2019. Total revenues in the fire levy fund are estimated to be $576,860 in 2021, keeping with estimated revenues at 2020 levels. Total expenditures related to the fire levy fund are estimated to be $514,161 in 2021, as compared to $643,783 in 2020. This drop is related to the defeasance of a lease purchase agreement for fire trucks. The estimated ending cash balance for the fire levy fund for 2021 is estimated to be $62,872. The pool levy consists of a 2 mil property tax levy renewed in 2018. Total revenues in the pool levy fund are estimated to be $185,307 in 2021, keeping with estimated revenues at 2020 levels. Total expenditures related to the pool levy fund are estimated to be $175,337 in 2021 as compared to $375,337 in 2020. The additional expenditures in 2020 are related to renovations that will take place at the pool in 2020. The estimated ending cash balance for the pool levy fund in 2021 is estimated to be $18,424. Other operating funds addressed in the 2021 tax budget are estimated to be continuous of current budgeted spending levels. There's a schedule of capital projects spending for 2020, which is included in Exhibit 4 of the tax budget. While the village intends to continue to perform capital projects in 2021, the projects have not been estimated at this time, therefore no additional information is available. The capital projects related to 2020 total $614,592. Debt service schedule of outstanding debt is presented in the 2021 tax budget. The schedule includes debt related to bonds only and does not include lease purchase agreements or OPWC loans. It is estimated that the village will have $2,540,000 in outstanding bond debt at January 1, 2021. Obviously, our staff recommendation is for the village to approve the tax budget via resolution.
Very well. Legislation is on our agenda tonight. Tim, am I understanding the overall? I heard you mention something about $6 million. Is that a decrease in over the last 2-year cycle? What I imagine? Am I saying?
In total property taxes?
Or
in total income taxes, rather?
Into the general fund, yes, that will offset all of that. But I'm hearing that number decreasing. Did it decrease from last year and projected revenue?
No, income taxes for the general fund actually went up just a bit in the general fund and should go up in 2021. We believe there'll be at least a 1% increase in general fund for income tax collections.
Okay.
We believe we'll collect a total of $6.2 million in 2021 in income taxes, but some of those taxes get pushed out to the road fund as well as capital projects and debt service.
Okay, thank you.
I think there are some other questions.
Mayor.
Yes.
Okay. I just have a question. I was reading along, trying to read along. Under the pool levy,
Yes.
In the budget?
The second, the tax budget, that second paragraph, under the pool levy, where it says total expenditures related to the fire levy.
Yeah, there's a misprint there. I'll go ahead and fix that.
And so 175,000 as compared to 375,000.
Correct.
20.
Correct. So the additional expenditures in 2020 are related to renovations that we're currently
Oh, okay.
planning on doing for that pool. I know Sherry has a question.
I want to just make a comment. Tim, you're still at the office, and this
I
was
am.
posted for 6:30, but that was corrected, both on notices on the door plus our website. But Tim stayed at the office in case anybody from the public did show up for this public hearing. Tim, did we have anybody show and express any comments?
We did not.
Did not.
I just want to make sure that's in the record, that we did
Correct.
try to accommodate them. Thank you.
And it looks like Pam has a question as well.
Hey, Tim, I have a question in regards to where would the expenditure of Rita show up in this package? The estimated.
The expenditure of Rita would show up under general fund tax expenditures.
So what I would assume that, because I don't have my finger on it, but I would assume that you took an estimated amount of what you were gonna have to pay for that service somewhere in here.
Yes. The Rita expenditures should be estimated at about $113,000 within the general fund.
So even if we do get a possible 1% increase, it's gonna be spent at least for the first year, possibly just for the service. Did I say that correctly?
I don't believe that works out quite that way, but with Rita believes that they'll probably, Rita's expectation is that they'll generate roughly $300,000 in additional expenditures. The 1% would be on top of that, based on what it seems like all the other entities are saying with their income taxes.
So I mean, I think we would expect them to generate some additional funds, some additional revenue for us, but probably for at least 1 to 3 years, we might not even see the benefit of that far as revenue coming in because of the expenses that, you know, get the startup and all that.
I would still expect there to be an increase in revenues based on Rita, but we'll find it out when we go in there, I suppose.
But there is something in here, so I'll take a look at it again. Thank you.
Yep.
Tim, excuse me.
Sure.
Can you hear me? What is the percentage for Rita again? Was it 3% of what they collect?
It works out to roughly 2% of
2%.
elections, but at the same time, there's a formula that goes into that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions from council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
you want to make note that Mr. Lawson has joined us?
Yes, I've seen him. I heard him on roll call.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard him on roll call. Yep, so Mr. Lawson is on. All right. So if we don't have Does anybody have any additional questions surrounding the tax budget? Having none, we're going to go ahead and close that piece of our public hearing for that tax budget 2021. All right, we'll jump down to petitions and comments from the public. I believe, Jerry, you had two that reached out.
I believe I have three. One was directed to the mayor and council from Diane Dillingham. Did everyone receive that?
Yes, I did.
So that's a letter she's requesting some feedback from council regarding regarding Forest Avenue. It's a paper street, it's unpaved. Her family's lived up there for 50 plus years. If you want me to read the whole letter, I will, and if council wants to address it, that's fine.
Did everybody receive that letter from Ms. Dillingham?
Yes, but does the public need to hear
Yes.
it, or that's not necessary?
Let
I
me
don't
read
know.
it real quick.
Okay.
The letter is written in reference to the paper street known as Forest Avenue. The property belonging to Ricky Dillingham is 10106 Forest Avenue. The property has been in the family name for over 50 years. My father, who is now deceased, has been requesting a street be paved on Forest Avenue for the entire time of his ownership. I now have the same request. My reasons are very important to us as a family. I am the power of attorney for my brother, Ricky Dillingham, due to the fact that he has become ill. It has been unpleasant and difficult for his nurses and family to constantly travel up the Rock Road. The second reason is we are interested in rehabbing this property to utilize as a transitional living home for 6 adolescent boys ages 6 to 18 that are considered homeless. If this plan is to come into effect, Forest Avenue will be traveled by caseworkers from the state. We cannot help these less fortunate children if the road to the residence is not complete. I'm asking that this letter of request for payment of Forest Avenue be presented to the elected officers for consideration. Please contact me if there are any further questions you might have. I respectfully await your response. Thank you, Diane Dillingham.
Would this be something that we probably could discuss in law, Mr. Burkhalter?
Yes.
Okay. My other concern is the fact that this is a non-dedicated street. So there's a process behind that as well, correct, in terms of this. And I'm just thinking of, I know that the Dillinghams have been over there a long time, but this is a non-dedicated street, correct?
I think it might be a little bit of semantics. It is a platted street. That's
Okay.
why it's a paper street.
Okay.
I have to look into it a little bit in a little bit more detail, but I can be prepared to discuss it at the law committee.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
Okay, so that'll be on the agenda. Okay, great. All right, Jerry, you had something from Ms. Jackson.
I have two more, yes. Ms. Johnson or Jackson is next, and then I have another one. I don't have a date on this one, but it is stated, and this is from Evelyn Jackson.
May I ask a question really quickly before we move on to that related to this letter from Ms. Dillingham?
Go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to, I guess it's implied, but I just wanted to make sure that we decided we're going to discuss this in law committee, but to make sure someone follows up with her to let her know that that's what we'll be doing.
We will
And
be.
then also making sure that they, that she has access if she would like to attend and view that meeting.
So yes, we will. So two things that you made. One, letting her know the discussion tonight. And typically if there's an issue out there in the public, We do follow up with that resident, perhaps with a visit or letting them know through the chain of emails that it has been addressed. And yes, we will provide her a link for the law committee meeting this month or next month. Hey, Jerry, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Good question. This one is from Evelyn G. Jackson, resident. Monica, I would like this question and suggestions presented to council meeting on August 25th, 2020. Question, is it not possible for Woodlawn to employ a full-time code enforcer? The positive result is that this person could better cover and communicate with residents that don't show pride in ownership. Things have gotten very serious with the neglect and the inattention to what constitutes responsible property upkeep. Steps to alert residents in the change of how code enforcement will happen. 1, send out red alert and or emails to owners and renters of the changes. 2, begin giving written notice to residents and renters not in code compliance using all addresses owner renter associated with the property, stating they have 30 days to fix the specific compliance violation. Number 3, if there is no action, then a written citation to court, date and time, is to be sent to the same residents. It says see number 2 above, which is the written notice, stating that no appearance results in an automatic fine. Fine amount approved by council, I think. Number 4, no appearance results in the fine being assessed to the non-compliant property owner. Number 5, I neglect to say that not paying the fine would result in the consequence allowed by law. Thank you, Evelyn G. Jackson.
Thank you.
I will make a comment if you would allow me to, and I think Emily might follow up. We have to follow what our codified ordinances state regarding the written notice. When she talks about 30 days to fix a specific compliance violation or violations, sometimes 30 days in my mind, if it comes to grass, is too long. Others, if it's a serious violation, it might take longer than 30 days. We might have to give them longer than 30 days. And then we go on to about the fines. In my mind, every time we do code enforcement, it's not to take people to court. It's to get them to correct the violation.
Right.
We're not here to send people to mayor's court for property code violations and collect money. We hope they correct the violation so it never happens. I don't know if the fine is approved by council or if that's already in our section with the police department when it comes to property maintenance, or if it's a separate item. That's where I'm asking Emily if she could step in. But we do have to follow the law, send notification, notify the property owner. Prime example, everyone kept telling us to send notice to, the name escapes me, but on Wayne Avenue, because the father lived over on Joliet, but he was not the owner of the property. Sending notification to him doesn't do us any good. We have to notify the property owner. So that is what we have to do by code, is to notify the property owner, or we can post it on the property, which I'm about ready to do with another property on Wayne Avenue. And we will follow the court procedures if necessary, but that's really not our goal. Our goal is to get it cleaned up.
Okay. All right.
I can comment on the court portion of it if you need some additional information on the court.
Are you referring to, Chief, as a process or?
Yeah, generally they leave the fine up to the magistrate, and the individual is going to come to court anyway to request more time. And generally they'll ask for more time if what was initially provided to them is not enough time. Then they need to come to court and say, I'm going to need at least 60 to 90 days. And then that will most likely be granted. But if there are a habitual offender, then the judge is going to most likely take that into consideration and shorten that time. But as the manager has stated, the goal is to get compliance from the homeowner to take care of the business and not to fine them. And they're going to turn around and have to do it anyway. So we want compliance from the homeowners or the businesses to take care of what needs to be done. And that's going to be driven, if they get cited to court, that's going to be driven by the magistrate to make sure that it's done. Then they're going to ask for the code enforcer or maybe the manager to follow up with that prior to them coming back to court to make sure that's been, the obligation has been met. If so, then it's going to be moved on from that to the other individuals who are not in compliance. So.
Very well. Okay. Good. Okay. Thanks. All right. And Jerry, there was a, there was a third.
I had a question. If
Sure. I'm sorry.
Just quickly, I just want to make sure the other piece of what Ms. Jackson shared was addressed. And I know we've talked about this in previous council meetings and committee meetings, but her initial question was around, is it not possible for Woodlawn to employ a full-time code enforcer? So I want to make sure we address that and answer that specific question also.
I thought we addressed that last month and talked about that. We kind of been going back and forth with that. Again, I have a concern about going full-time right out the gate. I think that that should be a goal that we go toward if need be. But my other concern behind that is a full-time during winter months is that you're not going to have that code enforcer coming out in winter months telling me that I need to paint my house. It's just not gonna happen, right? It's winter months. So to me, you're taking away a lot of responsibility in the winter months because of that. So again, I just think that we could possibly certainly fill this job on a part-time basis first to see how that goes. And then if we need to increase that, then certainly we can look at that. But I think that we should look at starting out part-time for sure. And those residents or businesses that we know are out there that just need that extra set of a visit, those will probably be the first on the list. So that is something that, yes, it has been addressed.
Thank you. I know we had talked about it before, but I didn't hear us talk about it tonight. So I just wanted to share that again.
No worries.
Mayor, may I add that we recently just posted that position as well as a couple other positions?
Yes, it is online.
For, we advertised, so we're searching for, our search is ongoing right now for a code enforcement officer on a part-time basis.
Correct, I've seen that.
Thank you.
And you also, you also had a third concern?
I do, but I think Ms. Boyd might have a question about the last one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see your hand.
Thank you, Jerry. I wanted to add, this big hand?
Okay.
I wanted to say, have you done any kind of assessment or analytical analysis of the village and what it might take that you came up with the fact that we only needed a part-time person? Anything in writing?
Are you able to do that?
Some kind of analysis writing that's all we need, a part-time person?
Was that question directed to me or the manager, Ms. Boyd?
The manager, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I missed part of your question. Your feed.
I'm sorry, my internet is horrible. I asked if you had done some type of analysis of what needs to be done in the village to understand the manpower or the hours that we only need a part-time person. Because when he talks about painting and things like that, you know, that are summer job activities.
When we looked at just...
You still have other things that fall under code enforcer that can be done all year round, I think.
And when the mayor looking at starting out as a part-time position If we feel that person needs to go full-time, that can always happen. But starting out full-time and maybe reverting back to part-time is a little more difficult. Going from part-time to full-time is a little easier. But I believe the part-time position, if we structure this properly, if you say up to 24, 28 hours a week on average, that means that person during, say, March through November could be working more than those, say, on average 24 hours. So they could be extended hours, but in the wintertime, their hours will be cut down because of the inclement weather, the cold weather. They can't be, like the mayor said, painting is a good example, outside during the wintertime. So
is that all the code enforcers do? Go around to see what needs to be done on the outside? I don't know. And also, what about the quality of the applicant? If you put it out there for part-time opposed to full-time, do you think that there would be any differential in that?
Ms. Boyd, I will be quite honest with you that for what we pay, I don't think we would even find a good candidate on a full-time basis for what we would probably be willing to pay. If you go back and look at the history of what we were paying an outside firm to come in and do our code enforcement work, they charge a heck of a lot more than what our hourly rate is.
I have a question.
Sure.
So how does other municipalities, how are they successful in this when you talk about the rates? Because every municipality probably has a code enforcer. We say we're going to beautify Woodlawn and keep the beauty there. So how does other municipalities, how are they successful? Has there been any reading or research on that as well?
Well, I will say, Pam, from my experience, the code enforcers in the cities that I look at, they have more money to put out there in a full-time job. One, they have that. The ones that I'm looking at in terms of like the Forest Park, the Springdale, those are city statuses. So they have a lot more grounds to cover. So when you're looking at a 2.7 square mile radius of Woodlawn, I'm not saying, again, I am just trying to understand or to try to get over that at some point that job could go full time. I just think that we can look at that as a part-time right now and see where we need to go. Again, it's on an average. That person may or may not. This week, you said that I'm part-time, but I can work up until 32 hours based on a part-time status. So it could change based on the caseload. But again, my other concern is that here we are entering into the fall, winter months. And so everything that needs to be done from a code enforcer, from the outside things, that stuff is going to be taken off of that person's plate so that they will be able to spend more time on inside business, code enforcing, building stuff, things like that. So again, I just want to see if that will work. That's our point.
I get that too, but I was making comments from the village manager. That's what my comment was. That's why I had the question. I do understand that we are going to look at it on a part-time basis, which is fine, but I just want to make sure that we want our neighborhood to look as great as some of the other neighborhoods that I see, our surrounding neighborhoods as of Wyoming, our Springdales. I don't want to be looked at as a less standard. We are let's beautify Woodlawn.com, beautifulwoodlawn.com, and I just want to keep that standard up. If it starts part-time, I'm fine with that, but I just had questions, in regards to the comment that Jerry made. Thank you.
Okay.
Mayor,
One moment. Tony, hold on real quick if you could.
Okay.
Jerry, would you like to respond to Ms. Fitzgerald's comment?
Well, first thing I would say when you say, what do you call successful? I would want our community to be clean. Somebody's success looking at one community to the other is going to be different, but we know what our codes are. That's what we're going to expect. I think if we start with a part-time position and move forward and start getting things cleaned up, I think it will have a better mindset with our residents and our businesses that, hey, I got to be compliant. That's the goal. The thing about hiring a full-time one, can we afford it? Now you're talking about a full-time position all year round. You're talking about adding benefits to that, which gets very expensive. If we go the part-time route and make progress, I think not only would council be pleased, I think our residents will and our businesses, but we need to get someone in there on a part-time basis.
Tony Brown?
Mayor, the manager made a great point. It also it makes a difference of how much we're planning on paying this individual. And I looked at what was posted, and that's not a lot. But regardless, whether it's a full-time or part-time, what the manager said does make sense. It's all about what they're going to pay. And if we do bring a part-time person in here, which we've tried that before, and we came up short, whoever we hire or the village decides to hire, they have to come with some experience, especially if they come in here part-time. Because if they come part-time with no experience or use the village as a training ground, we're going to end up short again. Whoever we hire, they got to have some experience. And again, what the manager said, that the pay will have some
impact.
It could have a bearing on what type of individual we get.
Right. I appreciate that, Tony. All right.
On to the third one.
Yeah, I thought it was the third one. I got number 3 over here.
Yes, I believe, I don't know if all of council received this. I believe they have. But if you, I'm going to read the whole thing to you. Again, there's 6 points here. Again, some of it's related to the code enforcer, which we just addressed, but I'll go ahead and read this one. My name is Gina Moore. I live at 961 Timberland Drive. What is the status of the following positions in the village? Who is the code enforcer? There is a home on Chester Road in great disarray. There are cars parked in the yards. If there is no code enforcer, when will one be hired? Excuse me. We care about the upkeep of Woodlawn to ensure the value of all our properties. Number 2, what is the status of the Wayne, she said Wayne left, but it's Wayne Loft's project, the pool, and then the pool. I'm not certain what she means there, but with Wayne Loft and then / the pool. But I recall seeing a meeting online where work was done on the pool, was to be done on the pool this summer during the pandemic. Number 3, our fire department is still the second lowest paid fire department in Hamilton County. What is being done to pay them more competitive wage? Number 4, kudos to the police department that was listed in a recent TV investigation as one of the most diverse police departments in all of Hamilton County. That was so impressive, but we continue to lose our police officers to other communities because their wages are also not competitive with the rest of the county. Number 5, when will the village advertise for a full-time permanent village manager? I understand that the current manager wants to be interim, but he has been on the job for quite a long time. For the sake of the village, please consider advertising for a person who wants the job on a full-time permanent basis. Number 6, the new development on Wayne Avenue apparently will be on the site, will be the site of apartment buildings or housing for those with a limited income. How will this current Woodlawn residents who need housing benefit from this project? I understand that a list of potential tenants from other parts of the city are already on top of the list. Thank you for your time and consideration. Gina Ruffin Moore, 961 Timberland Drive. Mayor, do you want me, number 1, we addressed with the code enforcer.
Yes, we did.
I also have talked to the chief about the cars being parked in the yards. And we need to start enforcing that. One of the things about the cars being parked in the yard, the chief was saying, well, we as the village violate our own ordinance when we have special events or our concerts and we allow people to park. on unpaid services such as the yard or grass. We can correct that by passing something temporary that allows for special events sponsored by the village where we are parking on the grass. The code enforcement officer was already addressed.
Jerry, can I go back to
Okay.
what you were saying about parking on the grass, Jerry? I thought we did implement something with special privileges for the village when we hold events.
We did. That is correct.
Right,
We
that
did.
addresses the parking on the grass.
We did.
I was not aware of that. I will have to follow up with the chief then, because he was, I believe, under the impression that our ordinance is no parking on the grass, but we violate it. But if we did pass something, I need to just have that legislation forwarded on to the chief. So we're clear on that.
Jerry, can I ask, does the code enforcer include zoning in the job description? Is that a part, something that the code enforcer works with as well? I have no idea. I'm asking.
Hamilton County handles, well, you got this question from Monica probably because she texted me. Hamilton County handles our zoning and our building code. So Hamilton County will be continue to be doing our zoning. Now, when our code enforcement.
Now, I got this question from Diane Thomas as well. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, so Hamilton County is still going to be handling our zoning and our building department. But our code enforcement officer, when it comes to minor things of zoning, yes, it's going to involve a little of that, but I'm hoping that code enforcement officer, when they see a zoning violation, is going to reference that to the county or get advice from them to make sure if it's a violation of our zoning code that, and they're going to cite, that we refer to the county to make sure we're correct before we do any citations. Okay.
She said, thank you.
Okay. Wayne Lofts, number 2 was the status of Wayne Lofts. Wayne Lofts is moving forward. They've submitted plans to go to Planning Commission. I believe from what Emily has sent out, the village council, their role is complete. And Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, but Wayne Lofts has to come back to Planning Commission. We do not need a we do not need a public hearing for this. They're coming back for their final development plan in front of the Planning Commission for review and approval. And Emily, if I'm incorrect, please correct me.
No, you're correct.
Okay, so that'll be coming up in Planning Commission in September.
Jerry, if I can just add in when we're talking about the Wayne loss, because I received a call from our superintendent here in Princeton this week about that. And what's so disturbing is that it is out in the public that this is low-income housing. It is not. I'm making that very public on our meeting here today, that this is not a low-income housing project that we are bringing to the village. So I want to make that very clear. When we were presented this with MVAH, they clearly explained what that looked like. So if any council member or anybody has any questions, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to make sure that you are sharing the right information out there, because I'm having not only the superintendent, but there is a couple residents that have gotten that same information, and that is not true. So I just wanted to stop and pause there and add that in there. This is not that type of project.
Can I please say something, Mr.
Sure.
Mayor?
Sure.
Okay, related to what you just said about this is not low income housing, which is a fact that is incorrect. However, I want to go on the record to say, if it was low income housing, that is okay as well.
Yes, it
because
is.
people that make a low income deserve to have a nice place to live also.
Exactly.
And so as a village, we don't ever want to make it seem like we don't want a certain type of people in the village, or for us to think that they don't deserve a place to live as well. So just want to go on the record and say that we are not discriminating against anybody based on their income.
That is correct. But I just want to make sure that the public is aware of this project, because it was very specific to this project. And as you say, Kiana, you're absolutely right. I'm talking just in general about this project, but at no means or no time will we just deny an applicant or an idea based on a level of income.
Correct.
That I agree.
There is a housing issue across the county where there's not a lot of affordable housing.
Right.
We're about 40,000 units short of affordable housing across the county. And if Woodlawn has the opportunity to bring affordable housing or low income housing, I would absolutely be for that.
I agree.
Okay. I know, just to kind of piggyback on that, this is what they call a work opportunity, opportunity for the housing. And so again, he gave us some comparisons in terms of rates, rental rates around us here in the community with the 3 apartment complexes that we have versus theirs. I will say that I'm not for certain, but I do believe that there's ongoing conversation and perhaps some type of interest between Lincoln Heights and CMHA, because originally the property in which they still own, that was a conversation that they had begun to have with the CMHA. So I'm not for sure if that is off the table, but I do know back when that all went down, that CMHA was not successful in getting the funding that they needed for that project.
Just make it clear, Mayor, that we're talking about 2 pieces of property, different pieces of property.
That is correct. I just mentioned the 2 pieces. The Wayne Loft property that's
Wayne Loft is one. Yeah, the Wayne Loft is one.
Talking about affordable housing, kind of to Kiana's point. Okay.
Oh, okay, then.
All right. Thank you. I'm sorry, Jerry.
That's okay. Good conversation. I was on their second point, and I'm going to jump down to the 6th point because, again, they address apartment buildings. This is not going to be apartment buildings. This is going to be one standalone building, I believe 3 stories. And it's going to be one complex. If you've all seen the schematics, it's going to be very nice. I'd call it considered upscale. And this was workforce affordable housing project. Again, low income is fine, but when they presented this, they were talking about people that just started an early career, such as a school teacher, a police officer, a firefighter, that needs a place to live, can afford to live in there. If they're making $50,000, $60,000 a year, this would be something that they would qualify to live in until they have their feet on the ground, until they're ready to buy their own house. So I just wanted to clarify that. The other thing, I don't know where this Ms. Moore got her information about. There's already people from other parts of the city that are at the top of the list. I have no idea where that came from. That's just something that's being passed around. As the mayor, you've heard it's various types of projects, but that's inaccurate information as far as I know. The next bullet was number 3, was the fire department. Second was paid in Hamilton County. What are we doing? Well, we do have on the agenda this evening a pay ordinance increase, which is a 5% increase for both all of our sworn police officers as well as all of our firefighters and medics. So that is on the agenda tonight. That's not going to get us up to where we need to be, but it's a step in the right direction because they have not had a raise since 2018, like all of our other village employees. But we do need to look at this seriously because we can't keep turning around, training people and losing them because it's costing us much more to do that than it is to paying them a little more. Number 4, that was the kudos to the police department about the diversity in the department. That I think that was just a comment, and she's very proud of that. So that was wonderful, and thank you. Number 5, I will let council address. That's regarding the village advertisement for a full-time permanent manager. I'll let council address that one. And number 6 was the Wayne Avenue development, which we addressed in number 2. So
I will address the one where it is referring to the hiring a full-time village manager. First, I want to say that our intention was, we had asked Jerry when he came on board with us to come on board and give us some time to help just get us to the next level where we really needed to go. I'm just being very honest, transparent. Damage control is what we asked them to do. And so now it has become a big cry out. What are we going to do to hire the village manager? Well, my plan is to look at that position come October, where we will begin to look at putting that out for in the public for folk to begin applying for that job. And hopefully we will have somebody in here by the end of the year. My other intent is that I intend to keep Jerry on board with us for an additional 3 months after this person starts to aid us in just getting that person acclimated to what is going on in the village, as kind of like a mentor in the working at the job site. So that is my plan for that position for the village. And that is more conversation to come behind that as well. So thank you, Jerry.
you're welcome. Those are the comments we have from the public.
Okay. All right, thanks. All right. So committee reports. Committee of the Whole, which was August the 12th, 2020. I believe the chair for that meeting was Mr. Lawson. Mr. Lawson, you want to report?
Committee of the Whole was held August 12th, 2020 at 6 o'clock. The members that attended were Mayor Brian Poole, me, myself, Robert Lawson, Brown, Burkhalter, Fitzgerald, Tribune, and Boyd. The first thing we discussed was police and fire salary increases. The raise will be retroactive August 1st, 2020. Jerry, would you like to fill in on that, or is that something in your report later, the 5% increase?
It's on the agenda for tonight.
Okay.
It's on the agenda, and it's a 5% increase, like I mentioned, for all of our sworn police officers, as well as all of our firefighters, paramedics, EMTs. Okay,
then I'll go on. We also discussed new vehicles for the village. Tim had a lease process agreement, and it's in further review, and we'll be receiving a truck and hopefully 2 Ford Explorers. And then also we discussed the vacant positions in the village. We have a vacancy for a recreation director, a part-time code enforcer, a custodian for the recreation center. Mayor's court clerk is also open. Also, we discussed public works projects. We discussed the Shady Lane. We discussed Riddle Road. We discussed Jones Avenue. We discussed a lot of the road repairs and reconstructions of the village. And then also for new development, Tribune wrote an email. She read an email from Chris Smith, who's wanting to build senior housing on the south side of Waverly. So that was on also some of the discussion. Some of the new business we discussed was Ms. Boyd, she discussed the residents needing access to the public forum. So because right now we're just on Zoom, and she wanted more of the residents to have access to ask questions. Also, we discussed Mrs. Brown. We have a finance director evaluation coming up in October, and she handed him with his review. And after that, that's pretty much about all we discussed. We adjourned the meeting at 7:50.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Lawson and Committee of the Whole?
I don't have any questions, just a comment.
Okay.
regarding the evaluation for a finance director, which is due sometime the early part of October, I have put a copy of the evaluation form in each of the council members' mailbox. I also have given Tim a copy of that form so that he would be able to see what is on there, what we're thinking about. I mean, our thoughts of what we would be evaluating him on. I've also asked for any feedback that he may have to that, and he'll get that to me if he has any. And once he gets that to me, I'll get it to you guys. I also asked that he provide us with a copy of a list of things that he believes he has accomplished, And my hope is that once we get that, we can make a time sometime in October where we can all get together and just do the evaluation that one night.
Very well. Appreciate it.
I had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
In regards to the comment that Bobby just made, you said there was a position open for, did you say rec center?
Yeah, for the recreation director.
No, I thought you said something else.
Director, he said recreation, custodian.
The custodian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You said there was a position open for a custodian?
Yeah, custodian at the rec center.
At the rec center, yes.
Okay. I just didn't recall that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Excuse me, is that you're for a full-time custodian at the rec center, Mr. Lawson?
Yeah, I'm assuming it is full time, not part time. Or do you know?
Can I chime in?
Go ahead.
Yeah, please.
We have one part-time employee down there, but we might maybe losing him, but we're advertising for another part-time custodian for the rec center. Because more programming, we're going to need to make sure that our facility is clean. And some of the talk has been maybe that if we have 2 part-time people down there, if we can, one of them might be starting to clean our municipal building as well. So, but right now the focus is on the recreation center.
All right. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Lawson? Having none, finance meeting, Ms. Pam?
Yes. The finance committee meeting was August 17, 2020. It began at 7:26 p.m. The meeting was called to order. Members present was myself, Ms. Treview, Ms. Boyd, Mr. Engel, Ms. Brown, Mr. Lawson, Mr. Willis, and Mr. Brown. Some of the topics of discussion was the income tax update. There's approximately $434,184 of revenue. And of that, $34,910 came in that's related to the road tax. They had some issues with CMI because there was quite a bit of funds that came in for the month of July and it was not able to be posted until August, but that has been rectified. Also, discussions was about LGS and update and status of that. The 2018-2019 financial audit has concluded. A draft copy of the audit findings have been provided to the village, and the finance director has prepared responses to each finding. As a reminder, the council and state utilize the non-GAGIS approach, which means that they will not issue an opinion on the audit. We also reviewed reports as far as the appropriations and revenue report. It was included in this report, our spreadsheets to provide an overview by fund of appropriations versus expenditures and budgeted revenue versus actual receipts. As of July 31st, 2020, the village had collected 53% of budgeted revenues and expended 46% of appropriations. So with it being just a little bit past half year, we're right kind of where we should be. The village added a new fund, which is the 2051 fund for firefighters COVID-19 supplemental. And that's to purchase equipment for the village fire department. There was also the grant is through FEMA, and the total grant amount is $23,860.95. And the village has a $1,193.05 match. Some of the other reports discussed was the receipts and expense reports. The village collected $534,765, and we actually dispersed $529,954.93. We discussed the general fund accounts. The village has collected 49% of the total general fund budgeted revenues and expanded 50% of the total general fund appropriation. So we're right where we should be. We talked about fund balances, overtime. We know much of our overtime that has been spent thus far this year is due to our police and fire department. We have some shortages there that we're looking at. We talked about negative fund balances. Some of the other things we talked about was the swim safe. There was an update there. There has been no changes to the swim safe contract. The contract is suspended for this year, 2020. We talked about pool repairs. The village manager has met with the pool contractor last month and is awaiting bid specifications. I'm sorry. The document should be in by the end of this month. So our village manager is working on trying to get somebody in for that. The village is currently in process of hiring a new recreation director, which we've kind of talked about. Compensation and retention of police and fire employees. That will be talked about in a little bit as far as legislation on 5% for that group. And also, we talked about a code enforcer, which we've been in discussion with tonight as well. Some of the new business, and we talked about legislations of ordinances as far as the transferring of that $1,193.05. And the meeting was adjourned at 8:33 p.m. on August 17th, 2020. And that concludes the Finance Committee reports for this month.
Speaking of the finance report, did we break even on summer camp? How did we pan out with that?
As of the end of July, it actually looked like we were ahead on summer camp, but we don't have the August numbers in yet. So some of those expenditures are still going to hit in August.
Okay. But we will be able to see after it's all said and done whether it's successful.
Yes, we will.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. And then the other thing I'm just looking at, it's more of a concern in here when we talked about police and fire, not for sure where the demand came from, but that's kind of very heavy. That word is very heavy. And I just have a concern with that, but nothing that I need to stay on. And Pam, you mentioned something about the roads. I seen it.
It was at the very beginning.
Yeah. There it was. Okay, and okay, I missed it. It's 34,910. I see it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of money that came in for July with the deadline.
Uh-huh.
So they were having some issues with the CMI system.
Okay.
So Tim and his group made sure that money was in for the correct month, which would have been July.
Okay. Good stuff. Okay. All right. Thanks, Sam. All right. All right. Law Committee, Mr. Burkhalter, please.
Law Committee met on August 19, 2020 at 7 p.m. Committee members, myself, Ms. Brown, and Mr. Lawson were in attendance, as well as other council members and employees of the village. Mr. Lawson touched on some of the things that we spoke on in the law committee. We talked about the police cars and the service department vehicles. I think that's coming before us tonight. Also, we talked about amending the appropriations ordinance. There were no questions in regards to that. We also talked about transferring funds for the firefighters COVID-19 supplemental fund. And I believe I think that comes before us also. Our finance director talked about the tax budget earlier. We also talked about an internet auction in which when we have a surplus of equipment that we haven't used or is outdated, we auction it off to the public. And I believe that's before us tonight as well. Our law director explained that council needs to appoint a person for the public hearing requests. The clerk of council has been completing the requests before this. She also let us know that council needs to take training, which is offered by the state, and needs official copy for the audit purposes. And I believe we are all going to be taking that training soon. We also talked about the repair of the fire hydrants throughout the village. And also I had asked about our contract with our solicitor and where we are with that in our budget. We are a little bit over budget this year, but it was explained and understood that we've had litigation throughout this year that has taken that budget up a little bit over this year. And that was all for the law committee.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Burkhalter in law? All right. Having none, municipal managers report, please. Jerry, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. An update, we did start the Riddle Road project. John R. Jurgensen is the contractor. They did start Monday morning. Weather permitting, they should be done by Friday, September 4th, I believe it is, with their final paving asphalt layer. But they are working on it. They're doing their grinding, their full depth repairs this first couple of days, and then they'll grind everything, and then they'll come in and pave it. A COVID message was sent out. I know the mayor asked about that, but it was sent out. I sent that to everyone earlier today, what was sent out to all the residents through the code red message.
Okay.
Along with that, the same contractor, John R. Jurgensen, which the council approved the contract, they're going to be doing that short portion of Jones Alley that's been previously paved. So John R. Jurgensen, while they're here in town, we felt it was a great opportunity. So we didn't get charged excessively for them for their relocation of all their equipment to have them do that project. So that will be done this week as well. I've been working with John Fulmer, our interim rec director, with limited programming that could start down at the rec center in September. We do have our workout room or the weight room open on a limited basis for now, but they're looking, starting in September, a spin class, a Zumba class, and also line dancing classes. And right now, all of those programs are scheduled to take place outside. They won't be inside of our building. So what we want to do is review the contracts with these. Actually, it's been a memorandum of understanding or an agreement with all these individuals that have provided these classes for us at the rec center, to have our law director review them, because we really probably should have another clause in there regarding the COVID-19 and provide a little more protection to the village based on that release for the program instructor as well as the participants. And I have one other thing, but I can't say it right now because it's a secret. It's somebody's birthday, and I'll send that out to council, and I hope you all can partake in it. September.
So, really quickly, not Jones Alley, are they doing something on the eastern end of Riddle Road down at the school?
Yes. They're
Uh-huh.
payment to the bridge. We're going to finish that portion as well. They were in there to do some full depth repairs today, and then they'll grind that and overlay that as well.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. And you're saying that the completion for Riddle Road should be by September 4th?
I believe that is correct. If I'm wrong, I hope Anthony chimes in and tells us.
Is that our target date?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mayor, Jerry, I had a question. Mr. Burkhalter called me early in reference to the gazebo, uses of the gazebo. Are we still keeping that closed or limited use, seeing that we got a major holiday coming up? Maybe the public need to be made aware. I don't know if the rec center already made anybody aware whether or not it's going to be available for use.
Right now, I talked to Mr. Fulmer for the rec department today. We talked about if we could open it up. I think we need to look at what the governor's orders are on facilities like that. Our biggest concern is if someone does rent it out, about the cleanliness of it, the disinfecting of everything in the gazebo. So that would be our concern if someone rents it out, and then if it's rented out twice over the weekend, who's going to be in there to disinfect everything? So right now it's still closed until we find out what the state's regulations are on outdoor facilities like that. And then if we can comply with the requirements of making sure it's properly disinfected.
Okay, is that something we have on our website, or can we put that on there? Because a resident did ask me that a while ago, and I forgot to bring that up to you.
It's not on our website. Just had a conversation this afternoon.
Okay.
Pam, you had a question. I seen your hand up.
Yeah, my question was just based
I had
on
a question for quite some time, actually.
Oh, go ahead, Kiana.
Everybody, I can't see everybody's saying. I'm sorry.
I know. Was just letting you know.
Okay.
I just wanted to comment on something that you said, Jerry, regarding opening up the rec center for fitness classes and having some additional language in MOUs for instructors and then also around participants. I think that's a great idea, and I think it's definitely needed due to this pandemic because of the increased risk for exposure. But also wanted to say, can we please make sure that that actually happens before we start scheduling things? Just because I know sometimes things kind of fall by the wayside, and I think that's critically important to make sure that's in place before any of that happens, and make sure that for the instructors in particular, that MOU is updated before they start teaching those classes.
In relation to some type of the protocols that should be put in place, is that what I'm hearing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and updating the waivers that participants sign as it relates to COVID-19, and I think we need to make sure we have a really strict process in place to make sure those things are actually signed. Okay. Because I would hate for something to come back, somebody to be exposed, right? Test positive, and try to trace that back to the village. Okay. And I think that if we can't do that and make sure that we have an airtight process, we might want to reconsider reopening those classes.
Okay, appreciate that. Thanks, Pam.
I'll have a conversation with Emily regarding those MOUs, and I'll instruct Mr. Former that we won't begin any classes until we have those new MOUs in place.
Hey, one question: are any sports leagues going to be operating out of the rec center?
That's a follow-up I have with Mr. Fuller. Again, that's something we discussed this afternoon. Okay. Talking about possibility of the basketball programs, and I said we're not starting anything just yet, but we need to sit down and start reviewing this to see if we are going to do it. And if you have information, Emily.
Well, there are much stricter rules in the governor's orders that pertain to sports leagues, especially contact sports leagues. as opposed to fitness classes. There are a lot of obligations and there's an affirmative duty on the part of the venue. Comply with those orders. So we'll want to discuss the feasibility of doing the sports program in light of those orders, and if we can be compliant.
That's some ongoing conversation. Look like that Jerry, John, and Emily you'll get involved with.
That's fine.
Okay.
I also want to comment on the gazebo. There are currently not any orders in place that would specifically govern those types of facilities. From what I've seen, some communities have gone ahead and opened those things up. Some have kept them closed. The restriction on more than 10 people at a gathering is still in place. And that has kind of been the deciding factor, I think, for some communities who have decided to keep those types of facilities closed. For those that have opened them, they have put the responsibilities on the person who is renting the facility to make sure it is cleaned before and after each use.
Okay.
So that's up for the village to decide.
Okay. All right. Pam, you had a question out there, and I know Mr. Burkhalter is back there as well. Pam?
That's okay. Emily answered most of my question. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Mr. Burkhalter?
So am I hearing from Pam and from Jerry? I understand we're not renting the shelter, but is it not open if I just decide to go over to the shelter with my family? You know, it's a public park. So are we saying it's closed to the public now in general and for rentals? That was the question that was brought to me by a resident. Can they go over to the shelter? Not as a rental, but just, you know, use the shelter.
Yeah, right now we're not accepting rentals for the gazebo or the rec center, but like you said, it's related to the gazebo, no rentals, but we do still have the caution tape around that. It's going to be difficult to police that if we open it up, as Emily stated, no more than 10 people. If we open it up, now we are responsible as the owner to police how many people are gathering on that public property. So that's a concern of mine. But if you think it's 10 or less, you'd be okay. But I don't want our police department to have to get into an enforcement issue regarding the COVID of chasing people off our property because of the COVID issue. They have other things to do.
Correct. So I'm hearing you say no rentals, but you're not addressing where, is it closed? Is our shelter closed?
As I stated, we still have it caution taped off. Right now we do. The gazebo.
Okay.
It's closed.
As of today, as of yesterday, they took all the tape down.
Right, because I didn't see it either.
Tonight when I came in, I noticed that there's some brush over there. There is a piece of tape, caution tape. It's just maybe hanging from one pole, but it is kind of lying on the ground, so it's not clearly up there. So if it's supposed to be up there, perhaps Public Works can get out tomorrow and put that up for us over there.
I agree with Jerry that we probably need to do that for our own liability, that we probably need to leave that caution tape around there.
Right.
I agree.
I agree. I think it would be in our best interest to keep it closed.
Okay. All right. Anybody else's hand is flying up? I didn't see anybody. I'm sorry. Having no other questions for Jerry, Finance Director, should report.
Thank you. I want to make one real quick correction before I start. Ms. Fitzgerald had asked me about the tax budget earlier where the RETA expenses were budgeted, and I noted they should be under income tax administration. Those expenditures are budgeted under other general government contract services. We left that number stagnant from 2020, and that should work out because we don't have as many legal expenses that were charged that line item this year. So that's where that falls. Just wanted to clear that up. Other than that, Charles, our income tax administrator, provided us with some new income tax reports for July. For the month of July, the amount of taxes attributed to July, so this would be like on an accrual basis, was $651,562.39. If we review our total tax collections for the year, we're at $3,411,262. Excuse me. We're at $3,472,896.97. That's actually a little bit ahead of this time last year. So it actually looks like our taxes are starting to kind of balance out, maybe come back, which is a positive thing. We'll kind of see what August brings for us here in the village. Do you want to note that along with your receipt listings and payment listings that are included in your council reports, you also have a bank reconciliation report. The village is officially up to date on bank reconciliations for 2020. That report is in there for you to review. And if there are any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. Other than those items, there really isn't anything new from what we discussed in Finance Committee and what Ms. Fitzgerald has already reviewed today.
Okay, that's some good stuff. In terms of the road levy fund, that's very exciting to hear that number, that we are going to be able to address the purpose of that fund. And I know at one point we talked about a list, a kind of priority list. Do we have that still available that we can keep this momentum going with our street levy? What's next after the Shady Lane, the Riddle Road of the world, the Jones Alley? Can we talk about that next month in committee?
Certainly. I know that the engineers did compile a inventory of all of our streets, and we can pull that up and share that with council. I neglected to tell you earlier, and I will bring this up. I'm glad you brought that up, Mayor, is that the CDBG new money that was coming in, that we were looking at submitting an application. We thought the strongest application would be Chester Road. The director down there was informed, I guess over the weekend, and emails went out, that it cannot be used for that type of project. It can only be used for COVID-related projects, if that's PPE for our employees or departments or businesses and other things such as that. I had a brief conversation with our fire chief today because he was looking at buying a unit for one of the EMS units. And this is a monitor. He said without this, it takes basically 2 to 4 people to deal with the patient. But with this device, it's only one person. So, and it's about $15,000. And maybe that is something we can look at if it's COVID related, because it's only one person involved versus 4, up to 4, and put a unit in each EMS unit. So they said they're going to restructure the deadline on this as well. So once we have all that information, I'll pass it on to council.
You know, it's very just like a letdown in terms of Chester Road. It seems like it's always something about Chester Road. So I'd like to kind of come back and what's our next attack? Maybe we can have this conversation with Anthony yourself about what's our next approach with this. And so where I'm going with this is the fact that here this issue 7 about the whole thing with the busing, and they are traveling that street over and over and over, and the weight of those buses certainly has to be some type of negative effect on our road here in the village. And we are never able to, whatever reason, not being able to capitalize on getting monies for Chester Road. Oh my God, and it is in horrible shape. I understand that you're saying that what we thought last week, running around, getting everything together, it comes out that's not even the case. So You know, they put out bad information, first of all, and then they send back and say that that's not what the money can be used for. After we spent almost 2 days trying to get that application in. Okay, I'm on a binge. I'm gonna stop. But I'm very concerned about that.
If I may, the plan is still to do the south end of Chester Road. It was just, we were gonna take that CDBG funding and pay for the cost of engineering.
Correct.
But we still, our plan, unless it changes, and without my knowledge, the plan is still to do Chester Road, which is the next street
right
in the pipeline to be worked.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying in terms of how that came out last week, they talked about these monies, what we could have done with that to pay the engineering costs and put some toward the project itself would have made us in a better position. But they changed over the course what the money is used for. So I'm just saying. And then we got these big buses with this initiative that passed in the fall that are going to be traveling these roads like that all the time. Okay. Thanks, Tony.
Question.
Okay.
Mayor.
Appreciate that. Yes, Kiana.
I just had a couple questions for Tim, and maybe some of this we can talk about offline. But one of the things on the payment listing for July, there were quite a few voided payments. And I know that's something that Pam has addressed and had some questions about in previous meetings. And it seemed like that we hadn't been seeing as many voided payments, but then in the month of July, there's quite a few. So just wanted to know what happened with that. And then the other piece is there are a couple of payments in here for $80, $40, $60 that look like they're going to individuals. So I just wanted to know what those payments were for. Typically, when we see some of those things, they are for rentals in the rec department, but it was stated that the rec department is not accepting rentals at this time.
So in terms of the voided checks, some of those are simply errors as we were trying to make everything current. I know one that I'm kind of staring at right now is an OPERS payment. We had input the OPERS payment from last month instead of this month. We caught the error, voided it, and then input the proper one. I know there were a couple of those like that. In terms of the $80 payments, I will look into those for you. Any of those, if they're on the payment listing, those should be refunds. I can look into those and figure out what and get you guys some information about what those are. But I think I'm looking at the same ones you are, and I'll go ahead and send you some support for those.
Thank you.
Most of those $80, $40 refunds or payments were people who had rec center deposits they had paid, or paid the refund back to the person this month, and you see a lot more during the month of August.
Yeah, and I do know we don't pay those back until people request the payment. That comes from recreation.
Okay, because I was getting ready to say the timing would be off on that, because we have not been accepting rentals for quite some time.
I thought that when the whole pandemic kind of started, we had asked the director to go in and make sure that any money due back to folk that were renting, we did that. But okay, no worries. We want to make sure once they call for that money that we get it back to them.
I was asking the same question too. And I'm sorry. Also, was there a problem with payroll where some people, like they were missing a Thursday payment or something?
I think the issue with payroll you're alluding to is when the payroll server when the village server went down in a rainstorm, all that was taken care of within payroll. Nobody was shorted.
Okay.
I know Pam's had her hand up for a while.
Well, my question is about the next road that's supposed to be coming down the pipeline, which is Chester Road. I'm getting a lot of questions from residents in regards to Chester Road in my area. And I wanted to know if you knew of an estimate when that might be started. Would that be the year of 2020, or And it's maybe for Tony, since he kind of touched on it a little bit.
2020, where our goal is 2020, where the
Yeah,
engineer
fourth
has
quarter.
already worked up the plans and so we just waiting on the cost of engineering and then it should go before council probably in our goal is to have it before October. If, correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry, but sometime in October we should get the total cost of their cost, engineering's cost, and you already got the cost of estimated cost from the construction.
Correct.
We already have a contract approved by council for the engineering for that Chester Road. And we do have, I don't have that in front of me, the estimated construction cost. The goal would be to get it started in 2020, but we're at the mercy of these asphalt plants that will be shutting down and just don't know when. If we don't get it bid out here in probably September, it might be an early spring of 2021 project.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
hopefully 2020.
Right. All right. Law Director?
Before we move on, Mayor, I need, we would need to have somebody motion to approve the payment listing and the receipts listing for finance.
Okay. Payment and the receipt listing, correct?
Yes.
I'll make that motion to approve the payment listing and the receipt listing for July 2020.
I second it.
I'd like a roll call on that, please.
Rosemary Brown. Ms. Brown?
Aye. Aye.
Esther Boyd?
Yeah, yes.
Derek Burkhalter?
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Robert Lawson?
Aye.
Kiana Trabue?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Tim, do you have anything else on your agenda?
No, that's all.
Okay, thank you. All right. Law Director's report?
Nothing significant to report. I did want to follow up on part of the discussion from law regarding sunshine law training for elected officials. The Ohio Attorney General has an online training that is available for all public officials. You can do it at your convenience, and a certificate is provided when you complete the training. And this has all been approved in light of the fact that they aren't doing live trainings because of COVID-19.
Okay.
So if you go to the Ohio Attorney General's website and look at the Sunshine Law training, you'll find the page where you can register and log in and take the training at your convenience. And if you've any trouble finding it, just let me know. I'll send you the link.
Okay. Good stuff. All right. Anything else? Go ahead, Kiana.
Mayor, I'm sorry. There was one other thing that I wanted to say to Tim regarding the finance director's report. Just wanted to say thank you for getting us up to date on the reconciliation. I know that's something we've been talking about for a while and you have been working on. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Very well. All right. Just a couple things that I want to share. Want to really talk about one, the back to school safety. Please keep in mind, residents out there, school is back in session for our students that are on a scarlet and gray schedule. So buses are running through the neighborhoods daily. So we ask that you please watch your speed out there, watch the children on corners, sidewalks. Please be safe out there. It is important. I seen an email the other day. I was a little taken by it that I was not included in the email, and it talked about communication. And so I want to bring that in my report tonight, that a lot of things changed because of COVID. It is what it is. COVID changed a lot of things out there in terms of us communicating to our residents and all of that. I am working on a State of the Village update in which I'm planning to either do it through a live Zoom or perhaps a code red. I will make sure that the public has all of the information to log into that, but my goal is to have that this month, meaning September, I'm sorry, in September, because it does outline in the charter that we are to do an update the state affairs of the village. So I do plan to do that. And our goal is that hopefully in October, at the earliest, that we can come together and get a newsletter out to the residents if that's what we choose to do. But just in the interim, in September, I will be doing a State of the Village update. And I'm hoping that I can get that set up through a Zoom Live so residents can go on and participate watching that out there as well. We have been talking about the gun shooting range. Those meetings are continuing. In fact, we're meeting tomorrow with Commissioner Dumas, the mayors, myself, Lincoln Heights, Evendale, are meeting with Commissioner Dumas and talk about ongoing conversations about the gun range over there in Evendale. That is negatively impacting our residents over in Timberland area, as well as the residents over in Lincoln Heights, especially in the Mariana Terrace area. So again, those conversations are continuing. Again, we have a WebEx meeting tomorrow with Commissioner Dumas, and I will give some feedback in terms of what comes out of that meeting. So just know that when you have those questions presented to you, that this is an ongoing thing that we are dealing with, and hopefully we can come up with some kind of recommendation for them to possibly move the range. That's our goal. All right. So I wanted to bring that up as well to the committee as well. Okay. So that's all I have. I just wanted to bring out especially the safety of our kids. We've talked over and over that we're going to try to do some different things through recreation. And I promise I'm going to reach out to Ms. Boyd tomorrow to get on her calendar just to have some conversations, because I have some real concerns that I think the village can be a great help to some of our kids out there. We do not want kids to fall through the crack. And I have a real concern about that. So Ms. Boyd, look for my call tomorrow. So I can get on your calendar, okay? And I see your hand up. You got a question for me?
We have a recreation meeting scheduled for Tuesday, September 1st, if you are able to attend.
Sure, I'd like to have the conversation one-on-one if I could, Ms. Boyd.
Right. But I just wanted to tell you that tonight so you can put it on your calendar.
No worries. I got you. Appreciate it. All right.
Mayor?
Jerry, he could come, well, if he could, and
Okay.
Tim.
Okay. Go ahead, Tim.
I noticed going through our council packets that there are several mayor's monthly statements to council for the mayor's court. I don't know if those are typically addressed, but we should probably note for the minutes that those were received and approved by council.
Thank you for making me smarter, because I don't recall we ever done that, but we will. All right, so I have the mayor's monthly statement to council, which is dated April 6th, 2020, which is for March 2020. A grand total of $26,142.72 was collected for March. I need a motion to accept these, approve these for April the 6th.
I make a motion to approve the funds that was received from Mayor's Court from April the 6th.
Which is for March 2020, Pam, as well.
I'm sorry, March 2020.
Yep, it's dated April 6th, but it's for March 2020. And did I hear
I'll
Kiana
second.
second the motion?
Yes.
Thank you. All eyes on that April 6th for March 2020 of the statement to council, mayor's monthly statement.
Aye.
There are no nays. Thank you. Appreciate it. The one that is dated for May 4th for April 2020, a collection of $3,104.93. Can I have a motion for the acceptance of that as well? For May 4th, dated May 4th for April 2020.
Make a motion to approve the one dated May 4th.
Thank you.
Second it.
Thank you. All ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
No nays. Thank you. And 3. All right, I have one that is for dated June 1st for May 2020 and the amount of $4,617.50. Motion to approve, to accept these.
Make a motion that we approve the statement, mayor's monthly statement for June.
For May
It's
2020.
dated June 1st, but it's actually for May 2020.
Correct.
A second
The
it.
amount of $4,617.50.
All ayes?
Aye.
No nays out there, no. Okay, got it. All right, the one that is dated July 1st, 2020 for June 2020 in the amount of $18,484.85.
I make a motion to accept the mayor's monthly statement to council in the amount of $18,484.85 for July 1st, 2020.
I'll second.
All ayes?
Aye.
All right, and lastly, dated August the 5th for July 2020 in the amount of $23,808.38.
I make a motion to accept the mayor's monthly statement to council dated August 5th, 2020 of $23,808.38.
I'll second it.
All ayes?
Aye.
Yeah.
All right. Having none, we can go into legislation, please.
Okay. First item is ordinance 19, 2020, an ordinance amending, oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. The first one is ordinance 16, 2020, an ordinance amending appropriations for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020.
I need a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
A second.
Roll call.
Okay. Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Garrett Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Kiana Trabue.
Aye.
I need a motion for passage of ordinance number 16, 2020.
Motion for passage of ordinance number 16, 2020.
There a second to the motion?
I second it.
I believe, okay, I think Bobby, I heard Bobby out in the back doing a second on the motion.
Yeah, I did second it.
Okay, very well. All right. Roll call on the passage, please.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Garrett Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Kiana Trabue.
Aye.
Very well.
The next ordinance is ordinance 17, 2020, an ordinance to transfer $1,193.05 from the general fund to the firefighters COVID-19 supplemental fund.
I need a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 17, 2020.
I make a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance 17, 2020.
I'll second it.
Roll call on the suspension.
Kiana Trabue,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Derek Burkhalter,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Very well. I need a motion for passage of ordinance number 17, 2020.
I'll make a motion for passage on ordinance number 17, 2020.
Very well.
Second it.
All right, motion been moved, properly second. A roll call on the passage.
Deanna Tribune,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Derek Burkhalter,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Very well.
The next item is ordinance 18, 2020, an ordinance authorizing the Village of Woodlawn, Ohio to enter into a master lease purchase agreement and property schedule number 1 by and between U.S. Bancorp Government Leasing and Finance, Inc. and the Village of Woodlawn, Ohio to finance the purchase of police vehicles and a public works truck for the Village of Woodlawn and authorizing other documents in connection therewith and declaring an emergency.
Very well. I need a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 18, 2020.
I make a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 18, 2020.
I'll second.
Very well. Motion's been moved and properly second. Roll call on the suspension, please.
May I ask, was that Councilwoman Tribune who seconded that?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Derek Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Deanna Tribune.
Aye.
Very well. I need a motion for passage of ordinance number 18, 2020.
I make a motion for passage for ordinance number 18, 2020.
Second.
Very well. Motion been properly moved in second. Roll call on the passage, please.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
can you just keep unmuted? Derek Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Deanna Tribune.
Aye.
I need a motion for declaring emergency to ordinance number 18, 2020.
I make a motion to declare emergency for ordinance 18, 2020.
Second.
Motion been moved, properly second for the emergency. Roll call.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Gary Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Deanna Tribune.
Aye.
Very well, thank you.
The next item is ordinance 19, 2020, an ordinance amending ordinance number 09, 2018 to provide for a salary increase for certain employees in the police department and fire department and declaring an emergency.
All right.
Question?
I have a question, but go ahead. I think I heard Pam.
Yeah, I was just reviewing these are current salaries that are listed as of today?
No, the salaries that are listed, those numbers are based off taking the previous approved numbers and increasing them by 5%. So both the base salary and the range were increased accordingly by 5%.
Okay. Now, I have a question in terms of the report that I read today, Tim, that came out. It talked about the percentage of monies, it looks like overtime on these officers, and it gave a percentage, it gave a base salary, and it gave what the gross salary was with the percentage. Is that correct, how I read that?
I believe what you're saying is correct. So I provided the base salary based on what those officers would make if they didn't have any overtime. And then I included their 2019 total gross salary. And then I included the percentage over the base that they made in 2019.
So I have I have a real concern here when I seen that today, that how can council be for sure that this overtime that we're looking at, that number is huge.
It is.
So, you know, this will be, you know, the pleasure of council, how they vote this, but I do have a concern that before we make a commitment to this increase, that we need to have some type of feedback from our police chief in terms of what that plan looks like to monitor that overtime. Now, I know that we have, well, we're talking about hiring a couple officers, but those numbers were very alarming to me.
Mayor?
Yes.
May I? We are in the process of, we're trying to hire 3 officers. We have 2 in the process that are at the final steps here that we'd like to bring before council. Once we hire them, that should cut down on some of our overtime. It's not going to cut down on all of it. We're always going to have our overtime related to court, filling shifts because of vacation or sick time, things of that nature, or just being held over because of the police activities that are occurring. So we'll still see some overtime, but with the new hires, we should see some reduction in the amount of overtime.
Right, and I think to Jerry's point, you don't want the officers working that kind of overtime simply because that exhausts those officers.
Oh, absolutely. I agree, but I'm just, those were alarming numbers to me.
Yeah.
I'll ask the police chief if he has anything to add to that. If he,
yeah. Once we backfill our vacancies, that overtime that is being put out there is going to reduce dramatically. However, as they already stated, this is a vacation season. There are people who be taken off. Things do happen, come up. There's also where council allotted us $30,000 just for traffic safety. So that's $30,000 on top. Well, actually $50,000 was allotted to traffic safety for the village. So that's a number that's something you possibly look at if they want to cut back in the traffic safety. But the overtime that's being currently ran is in public safety for traffic, as well as backfilling vacations and the shortages that we're currently under. So we've been there before and we've managed this situation before, but until we get fully staffed, the overtime can be very alarming to someone who's looking at that because we're understaffed.
Okay.
No, one thing I will say.
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate that. I was extremely alarmed when I saw some of the numbers. I was trying to pull up the email and won't talk specifically about individuals with names, but there was one individual that was, their salary was at 69% higher than what their actual base salary was. And I thought that that was extremely alarming to think that someone just through overtime is making 69% more than what their base salary is. And also would say that I agree 100% wholeheartedly that our police and fire need pay increases and absolutely support that. But there is a huge concern on my part when it comes to that amount of overtime. I know some overtime is not avoidable, particularly when we're talking about being understaffed in these departments. But to me, a 69% increase in someone's salary related to overtime is extremely excessive. And I would like to see how we can make sure that that actually does not happen. And there were a couple of others that weren't quite as high as 69%, but were extremely high. And I think that that is something that absolutely needs to be addressed.
Thank you. I heard, did I hear?
Pam.
Pam, I see your hand, but I heard a voice prior to that. One moment, Pam.
I think it was Lieutenant Forth was trying to say something.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a male's voice. Lieutenant, are you back there?
I was just going to say that a lot of that overtime comes from a couple officers who do pick up a lot of the overtime for the shift coverages or we are short. So that's why you'll see that higher number in there. There are probably 3 officers I can think of off the top of my head who fill most of our vacant positions when people do call in sick. So I can see where that issue is concerning. If we are able to hire positions and fill those vacancies, we can eliminate a lot of the overtime that comes from those people.
Very
Some
well.
of the overtime that comes in there is the traffic safety car, which we have made increase the requirements for what the officers have to do during the traffic safety car to cover the cost of that, so that we can cover the cost of the overtime for them running the traffic safety car, which helps keep Woodlawn safe.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, Pam.
I think I was told that we were 3 or 4 officers down. So if we look at those salaries, you know, whatever that salary would be times 3, we would probably be at about $100,000 of where we are in overtime. So I just wanted to mention that we're down that many officers. So if somebody's picking that much up, I do understand the 69%. But if we're down 3 officers at X amount of dollars, salary times 3, that would take us there. So hopefully we can get those positions filled. We will, I agree with Chief Tillman that should decrease. But I do have another question in regards to the list that was on this ordinance. I didn't see, I won't say names, I think it's the clerk is not listed. And I was wondering if that was an error or
It's not an error. Under the original ordinance that this one is amending, the clerk of council, heirs court clerk are on a different schedule, and those are not being amended.
okay, so it wouldn't include, even though they work there, it's in another budget, in another group. Is that what you're saying?
It's in another section of the ordinance, those 2 positions.
Okay.
Yeah, the increase. Yeah.
Mr. Burkhalter had his hand up for quite some time.
One moment. Mr. Burkhalter, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Tracy. I echo the sentiments of the mayor, and also, so this ordinance is saying certain employees, and that's why the clerks aren't on there, Emily?
That's correct.
Okay.
And some of the positions that are listed, the police clerk, there was no change in that salary. Only officers and firefighters were increased.
And I know we've been talking about this for a while, but some of this information was just given to us yesterday or even today for us to even look at. One of the questions I had asked before is, where is this money coming from? Because I don't believe that the police money should come from the same as the fire. We stated that before, and there's never any clarity on that. I know we said that all of it couldn't come from the fire, but some of it could. So there's no clarity on that. And like I said, I did see the overtime as well. I just believe we keep putting a Band-Aid on this issue instead of addressing it and doing what we're supposed to do. I know Chief Tillman had some ideas as far as implementing a step and doing different things. Each year we're putting a Band-Aid on something, and I'm not in agreement with it. So.
Ms. Boyd.
Okay, my question was just, okay, on the paper that on this ordinance, on the back, you have a section 2, which is section 3 of the ordinance from 9/2018. Those are all of those positions there, they're not getting a raise? Guess I was asking Emily.
Hold on, I got to pull it up.
Okay.
I can answer that. All other employees other than police are certified police officers and our firefighters are all getting the 5% increase. This was to address the safety concerns. All other employees were not included in any pay increase.
Okay, but it had, on the back, it has a list there. And so the list there would be all people who are not getting it, because you have some positions that you said are not getting raised. But then you have certified police officers salaries that are on there too. That's what I'm not understanding.
You broke up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, but I'm not sure. The document that we're looking at should only have the police department and the fire department on it.
It does.
It does.
We have a first page, but then on the back of the first page, you have a section 2 towards the bottom that says section 3 of the ordinance.
Or police. Sorry.
Section 2.
To amend section 3 of the prior ordinance that set forth the police officer salaries.
Mhm. But you have like the crossing guard on there, police clerk.
So there were no changes to either the crossing guard salary or the police clerk salary.
Right.
But those positions were part of the section that's being amended, so that's why they appear here. But there's no change in those salaries.
Right.
The only salaries that have been adjusted are police officers and firefighters.
Okay, so the assistant chief, that one will be.
Yes, he is a police officer.
Confusion, it's all here. So I was assuming that the crossing guard, police clerk, and others were on here. That I was concerned that it was for this list, but no. Okay. So, okay, so the other people's raise would come at this with the administration's raise?
Yes, any other employees, this only addresses police officers and firefighters. Any other employee of the village will have to wait until there is a salary ordinance that addresses those positions.
Okay, so if you're voting for an increase, then there would be no confusion that those other 2 positions on there would not be included.
They remain the numbers that are written on there are their previous salaries. There's no change.
All right. Ms. Boyd, did she answer your question?
Yes, it just seemed like it just seemed like it was going to be. I was trying to see where it says it does say that we're only for police officers or certified police fire personnel. I'm just trying to make sure because it's confusing. But
okay,
because if I was the crossing guard, I would be expecting a raise. The way it's written here, it's sitting there, I would be expecting about 5%.
Yes.
At our committee meetings, we discussed specifically for police and fire to get the 5%.
Right.
Correct.
No other village employee was getting an increase at this time.
I understand.
Yeah, I mean,
I said it was on here, that's all.
It's on there because it's amending the ordinance in 2018.
Correct.
Why it's on there.
You have to put it in there.
But the rates have.
It was here. Yeah, I just.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to move forward and I am going to ask for the suspension of the rules on ordinance number.
Somebody's hand is up, Mayor. Somebody's hand is up.
You know what? That's okay.
I didn't see your hand, Ms. Rosemary.
You know what? That's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
I did not see your hand. I apologize.
No. That's fine. That's okay. I'll ask it at a different time.
Okay. All right. All right. I need a motion for suspension of the rules of ordinance 19/2020.
Make a motion for suspension of the rules for ordinance 19/2020.
I'll second it.
Roll call to the suspension.
Rosenberry Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Eric Burkhalter,
Oh,
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Anna Tribune,
No.
So the suspension did not pass.
Correct.
So this is just a first reading.
Thank you.
So to be clear, can I say something on that? Being that the suspension didn't pass, that gives us time to talk about it more.
Yeah.
Before second reading, correct? Thank you.
Okay, the next item is Resolution 19-2020, a resolution approving and adopting the 2021 tax budget for the Village of Woodlawn and authorizing the finance director to submit the budget to the auditor.
All right. I need a motion to suspend the rules for resolution number 19-2020.
Make a motion to suspend the rules, resolution 19-2020.
I'll second.
Motion been moved, properly second. Roll call on the suspension, please.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Yes.
Deanna Trabue.
Aye.
I need a motion for passage of resolution number 19-2020.
Make a motion for passage for resolution 19-2020.
I'll second.
Motion been moved, properly second on the passage. Roll call on the passage, please.
Deanna Trabue,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Eric Burkhalter.
All right.
The next item is,
Wait a minute, I didn't finish the roll call.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
Mr. Burkhalter,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
and Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, Monica.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right. The next one's Resolution 20-2020, a resolution authorizing the municipal manager to end contract county commissioners, Hamilton County, Ohio, for fire hydrant repair and replacement services.
Mom, don't come over.
You broke up a little bit in there, Emily, but again, this is just a resolution authorizing municipal manager to enter into a contract with the Board of Commissioners, Hamilton County, for fire hydrant repair and replacement. You just blinked out a little bit.
Okay.
No worries. I need a motion for suspension of the rules.
Make a motion to suspend the rules for resolution number 2020.
I'll second.
All right, motion been moved, properly second. Roll call on the suspension, please.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Deanna Trabue.
Aye.
All right, I need a motion for passage of resolution number 20-2020.
I'll make a resolution for passage for resolution 2020.
I second it.
Very well, motion been moved, properly second. Roll call on the passage, please.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Deanna Trabue.
Aye.
Very well. All right.
And the final one is Resolution 21-2020, a resolution declaring intent to conduct internet auctions for the sale of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit village personal property effective from September 1st, 2020 until August 31st, 2021.
Very well. I need a motion to suspend the rules for resolution 21-2020.
I make a motion to suspend the rules on resolution 21-2020.
I think I heard Mr. Lawson. Did you catch that, Monica?
Yeah, I second it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, motion been moved, properly second. Roll call on the suspension, please.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Deanna Trabue, Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Right. Any other, I think that was our last one.
We need a
Passage.
motion for passage.
Oh, Lord, I'm behind the game. I'm ahead of the game. I need a motion for passage of resolution number 21, 2020.
I make a motion for passage.
2021.
I second it.
Very well. Motion been moved, properly second. Roll call on the passage, please.
Mayor, was that Robert Lawson?
Robert, yes.
Yeah, that was me.
And
Okay.
Pam second
Mr.
the
Cheryl,
motion.
second. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Thanks.
Roll call. Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Gary Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Ms. Trabue.
Aye.
Okay.
That's all.
That's all, folks. That's it. Okay. All right. Is there any new business that comes to this council?
Mayor, I just wanted to add that there was discussion about appointing the clerk of council as the records custodian for the village. So if that's something council wants to do, this would be the time to make the motion.
Now, what's the motion?
To appoint the clerk of council as the records custodian.
One moment. All right. I need a motion to appoint the clerk of council as as records custodian.
Make a
I'll
motion.
make a motion. Oh. Go ahead, Pam.
I make a motion to appoint the clerk of council as records custodian.
I'll second.
Roll call on the motion, please.
You're muted, Monica.
Kiana Trabue,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald. You're muted, Ms. Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Esther Boyd. I think I read her mouth as I.
Oh,
Okay. And Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
And you missed me, Mike.
I just want to make sure that I heard a verbal.
Brian, Mayor.
Yes.
Aye. Monica missed me. Aye.
I'm sorry, Gary Burkhalter.
Thank you. And just to make sure, you did hear an aye from Ms. Boyd?
yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So thank you.
Question in business, Mayor.
Huh?
I had a question, real quick question for new business.
Okay, I'm ready.
We had talked about doing the drive-in movie night here soon. I was just wondering if Jerry had a chance to check with our insurance to see if there's any issues.
No, I did not. I will check with them tomorrow. I'll follow up. My apologies. I can give them a call tomorrow. I have to call them anyway because I got 2 letters from them today and I'm a little confused about them, so I will call them.
All right, thank you.
And then, so we can circle back and either one of us will circle back with you tomorrow, Mr. Burkhalter, on that. Do you have some dates in mind?
I would like to do it soon, probably maybe within the next 2 weeks. Not Labor Day weekend, but maybe the weekend after.
Okay, gotcha.
Rosemary had her hand up, Brian.
Yes, Ms. Brown.
New business?
Yes.
I have a couple of things. One of them is that it's coming up on the 30 days that we said we were going to circle back around with Monica.
You're muted.
I can't hear you, Ms. Brown.
It went mute. Okay. It's coming up on the 30 days that we said we were going to circle back around with our clerk of council. Since she came back and the job duties were combined with another job duty. So I'm just wondering if September 1st, the 3rd, or the 10th would be good for you and Jerry. Those 3 dates, I'm just throwing those 3 dates out there to see if we can come up with a date. That's one thing. The other thing that I have is the purpose of us getting our tablets, and the newer guys don't remember, will not know this, was so that we could cut down on the amount of paper that we're getting. Originally, when our clerk of council, Barbara, our clerk of council, all of our
Did we lose her?
I think she froze.
I think she's gone now. Her screen is dark.
There.
Oh, there she is.
yeah, off of our tablets, okay? And I want to see us go back to that. And the reason I say that is because I was down to the village today and watching Monica putting these packets together, very time consuming. Okay? Not to mention the fact that another part of that is I just want to ask all that are involved if we could possibly get things to Monica in a more timely fashion. Because when we're getting things at the last minute, the day before, then she has to get the packets together. It comes out to council. Council may not necessarily have an opportunity to review their packet. They would like to formulate any questions that they may have. So I'm just asking anything that we all can do to make sure that she gets the things. If packets are to be out to us by Friday, then if she can get that information, any information that you guys may have, if you can get to her by Wednesday or Thursday, so that we all have an opportunity to review the packet. I understand that sometimes there's things that come up at the last minute, but I would just like to say if we could just possibly work on that, and then also work on getting back to using our tablets more, going into having the packets put on the S drive. What that would entail is possibly some training for all of us council members as to how to get onto the S drive and use it properly.
Miss Rosemary, just so that you know, I want you to be clearly understood when we're talking about these tablets. I don't have a confident level in this tablet. I'm going to be honest. I have not.
Finished?
Yeah, I just want to respond to that itself while you're talking about it.
Yeah. What I had a conversation with Ashley today, and conversation was I would like for her to speak to whoever does our internet in our process, where we can go in and have them to check our tablets to see if there's some updating that needs to be done. Is it user issues or whatever it is? And once we find out that process and find out whether or not it's actually user or if it's tablet, then we could go into beginning to use our tablets as they should be. If necessary, we may have to get new tablets. Okay. But to get back to the point of where we want to get away from as much paper as possible. And one of the suggestions I made to Monica was that, yes, we all sometimes ask for a hard copy, but once she does the, puts it on the S drive, if she makes one hard copy, and if any of us are interested in a hard copy, then we can possibly come down and make our own copy.
Okay.
All of this is going to take training. It's going to make sure, you have to make sure that our tablets are working properly.
Okay.
But there is going to have to be a training process.
I'd like to make a comment.
To look and to see how much time it took for her to have to put these packets together. I mean, we're going backwards. Okay. That's what we used to do.
Okay, I get it. I get it. But again, my concern is that these tablets are not working the way that they should. So that's something that we have to work toward. I agree with you. Okay, good stuff. I see some hands up out there. Miss Pam?
Yeah, I just like to comment as well. I mean, with us being on Zoom meetings, and to me, it's a lot easier to have paper because you can flip through them as people speak. If we're on Zoom, that will make it a little bit more difficult. That would mean that you wouldn't have as much, or maybe no paper, but you can't look at your tablet at the same time that you're on Zoom. I guess you could, but when you're flipping through and you have questions, it makes it a little bit more difficult. And I would have to agree with Mayor that I've been having some of the same issues with the tablet since I received it. It's not working as properly as so.
Okay.
That's my comment.
Again, I'll repeat, we would have to make sure that our tablets are in correct working order, okay?
Okay.
And as far as having the hard copy, if we want the hard copy, we would go down there and make a copy ourselves for the time being. But this is just something to work forward to.
All right. Kiana, you had a question?
I did, but actually think that you, Pam, and you, Mayor, already addressed it. So I won't repeat the same thing over and over again. Other than just to say, Monica, just an acknowledgement that it does, I know that it does take a lot of time to put these packets together. And even for those who have took the time to hand deliver the packets, and it's much appreciated. And I know for me, paper is a lot easier for me to be able to follow and read information and also to take notes on it versus trying to do it on a tablet. So, I mean, if we get to that point, I'd be happy to make my own copies, but I don't know that I would be one that would participate and help cut down on paper because I need to have hard copies.
I get you. All right, Miss Boyd, you got a question back there?
I thought it was just because I was older that I needed paper, but I'm willing to come and copy my own to take that off Monica's plate. Because I saw what Rosemary was talking about. It was massive today for when I went down to get mine, and Monica was putting them together. I think, Rosemary, you were helping her at some point, but it was massive.
Okay.
But I need paper.
Okay, very well. Okay. All right. At this point,
Jerry has his hand up.
okay, I didn't see his hand. Jerry?
You're fine. You're fine. Just, I would like to follow back on the drive-in movie night with Mr. Burkholder, if he'd be available tomorrow. I do reach out to them, and they may have questions such as who's supplying the equipment, are we renting it, or and also we plan on selling alcohol, anything like that, because we won't get a liquor license in time to do something like that. Security, I just want to follow up with you in case there's any questions when I get the application, if we have to have that.
Is that okay, Mr. Burkhalter?
Yes, I'll be available.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I can reach you. Perfect.
We don't have a complete plan yet. So will you be ready to meet with him by tomorrow, Mr. Burkhalter? We don't have, I mean, do we have a written plan yet?
When you say we don't have, we've been talking about this.
Right, but did we finalize on a written plan of exactly what we're going to do? I haven't seen it.
You have not seen it. If I can just interject real quick, Ms. Boyd, as the recreation chair, I had asked you to champion that, and Mr. Burkhalter would assist with making this happen.
Right, and I have, in fact, Monica has helped me when she made a call about possibly renting a huge screen like we've seen in other municipalities. And the cost of that, I talked to Tim about it, but there is no concrete plan.
Okay.
Money from the recreation.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I think this more from an insurance point, they want to know just little things. Are you going to sell this? Are you going to sell that? So I think that you could probably answer that question if he, reached out to you tomorrow in terms of what you plan to sell. Those are just the little pieces that the insurance carrier needs to know prior to us really pulling it out. Okay.
Those type of issues like alcohol or something like that.
Right. Correct. Okay. That's what he was referring to. All right. So,
Mayor,
yeah,
before
Rosemary got her hand up.
I'm watching the thing. I'm trying to get back to her. Yes, Ms. Brown.
Okay, not to prolong this, but are we just looking to have a night where people can come out, bring their own popcorn, and we just have a movie? We're just trying to do something, nothing extravagant, nothing trying to really make any money or anything. We're just trying to look for an avenue to just bring people out of the house because they've been in the house. Any selling alcohol and stuff like that, to me, that's just starting to get into something more elaborate.
Correct. So let me clarify this. There was no talk at no point about alcohol. So where you're getting that from, Jerry's question to Mr. Burkhalter, he needs to know these things. He doesn't know that plan. So we talked about no alcohol. We didn't talk about any alcohol. We talked about this as a family event. So from an insurance standpoint, those questions are going to be posed to him. That's all we're saying about alcohol. It's not that we're planning to sell it there. It's that we were trying to do something for the community, just to clarify that.
Recreation meeting, I think it did come up. I think that's what what Rosemary is speaking of.
But I'm saying in terms of the plan, there is no plan that's been there that's written out saying we're going to sell alcohol. That's my point that I'm making.
I understand that. I just wanted to make sure that if that question is asked, that we're all on the same page.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And I've checked with other municipalities and they've had it free and they rent it from a company, and Monica was gracious enough to make a call for me and found out the company that have these huge screens. And so, yes, and I spoke to Tim.
You and Mr. Burkhalter work through that.
Okay. All right.
Mayor, one final thing before you get excited and go to adjournment, we still have executive session.
I get it. I know. All right. So with that, because team, it's getting all right. So anything else for new business?
Mayor,
go ahead, Chief.
I'm gonna make it quick. We just need guidance on what's going to do with the new hires, because it was not clear as to what the recommendation was from the manager, what we need to do moving forward.
I thought that process was moving forward with the new officers.
Right. There's two individuals that the manager interviewed along with the assistant chief. We just need to know what's next for us to move forward, or maybe I can have this conversation with the manager.
That's what I talked to Lieutenant Forth. We'll talk about this. I know you're on vacation tomorrow, but we'll have time to talk about it this week and then move that thing forward.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. All right. All right. At this point, team, I do need to go into a quick executive session.
Mayor, it will be under section 121.22G5 to discuss a matter required to be kept confidential by state statute.
And we will ask Stephen to make sure he mutes everyone's microphone. This is a call-in. We don't want any live mics here to pick up our conversations regarding the executive session.
Correct. All right. Did anybody catch that motion that Emily kind of sputtered out on me?
I've been muted. Oh, there am I. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's 121.22G5 to discuss a matter required to be kept confidential by state statute, and someone can just say so moved.
So moved.
Emily, may you say that slower? To discuss
a matter required to be kept confidential by state statute.
Got it.
We need to mute our mics and stop.
We need a roll call on that.
Steve will do that.
We need the roll call vote first.
First one.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Derek Burkhalter,
Aye.
Emma Fitzgerald, Robert Lawson,
Aye.
and Kiana Tribune.
Aye.
Very well. Okay. All right, so that is the purpose of us entering into executive session. Does everybody have the dial-in number for the executive session? Go ahead, dial in.
Yes. Mayor,
Yes.
can we have just 1 minute to take a restroom?
Sure.
Just 1 minute.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
No worries. Everybody go ahead and take a couple minutes. We're gonna come back. I don't want to hold you too long, so go ahead.
For, oh. Can you
Say it
all hear
again.
me? Oh, I didn't know if you guys can hear. I didn't know if he had already muted the mics.
Not yet.
Okay, and we're gonna call this number for the executive session. We're gonna mute these mics and we're no longer gonna be on Zoom. That's correct, right?
Till we come back and officially adjourn.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was seeing just a couple of people that were still on here
Yes.
that are not permitted to be in the executive session. So
Correct.
I want
Yes.
to make sure that they understood that.
Okay.
Is this a long distance call?
It's yes, it is.
I don't have a long distance plan on my cell phone. Are you gonna reimburse me?
You know, I got. Can I have an address? I need an address.
I'll three-way you in, Mr. Burkhalter.
Thank you, Ms. Tribune.
I have 951.
You better watch it. You're gonna charge you for three-weighing him in. Come on now. All right, where's my keys? All right, I'll take you a couple of minutes so you can go get your bio break real quick, so we can get you out of here.
Monica needs some information.
I was just saying I have 9:51 as the time entered into executive session, even though you didn't necessarily go in just yet. That's my documented time.
Okay.
And I'm leaving the meeting now. Have a good night.
You too.
You cannot start video because the host has stopped it. Okay. Okay. I can't.
Kiana, what time did I tell you?
You were right.
10:30 for real?
Exactly.
10:27. Wait, everybody but the mayor.
It's 10:27. Hurry up.
Oh,
I
I
did
know
as quick as I
we
could.
had any dinner. This is ridiculous.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I can't. The host has to do the video, but I can talk as long as y'all can hear me. We can.
Can you hear me too? I can't.
Yes.
There I am. Hello.
But I hit.
Okay. I can't believe I'm ready to.
Mayor, can we hear
Oh,
you?
there we go.
Okay.
Mayor?
There he is.
I lost Rosemary.
There she comes. All right.
I'm back.
At least we got to had a chance to take a 2-minute break. I was like, oh my goodness, can we go to the restroom?
You ready to end?
So we just need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
See you guys.
You
All
guys-
right.
Bye.
All right.